Yeah, we live
Okay.
right now. I'm about to check right now and see what the sound like.
Yeah. Check. Let me see if we on here.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. We on.
Yep. Check one, two.
Oh, here we go. Check. Yeah. I can't unsee it now.
I'll see what.
Check. I look like Blade. Like, I can't unsee it. Salaki. Slide. Woo. I can't unsee it now.
You
Salaki.
not just say that online right now.
I did. Salaki, Israel. Shalom Bashim Shabrakatah to the brothers. Shalom Yahashima Alatah Bahashim Yahawashai to the sisters. Today is the Sabbath service. This is the ISUPK, Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, under Commandant General Yohana, and we are not affiliated with any other Israelite group. So today we're going to be talking about a couple of things. We're going to be talking about, well, first we're going to go over an account in the Bible in 1 Samuel chapter 18. We're going to talk a little bit about King David before he was king. We're just going to talk about David and a sense of brotherhood that he had with another brother. We're going to be going over some examples of what a real friend is and what a friend is not, according to the Bible. Because it seems, not that there's been a very big misconception of what a friend really is. Like, if I could, before we even continue, can I ask you a question, Natazak? What do you think a friend is?
Um, I mean, I would I would subtract friend from brother. You know what I'm saying? A friend could be acquaintance, a person that you see that you enjoy their company. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you know what I mean. When I say like a brother or family, we on the wrong stations.
We are.
Yeah, we on One West Radio.
Can you take it off of that?
You want to start our one? Okay. Yeah, we just gonna stay on there. I mean, that's just on Facebook though.
That's fine. We're still on YouTube. That's fine.
Okay. So yeah, so a brother, I would say a brother and a friend is separate, but a friend shouldn't be taken lightly either. You know what I'm saying? A friend should be somebody that you are able to. You know what I mean? It should be it should be a trustworthy position. Like, I mean, I trust this person to be who they are, and I trust this person to you know what I'm saying? I trust this person that they have the characteristics to do certain things that are different from people that are separate from them, which is people like that. Like if I was gonna think of somebody that could do something janky to me, like steal my money if I fell asleep, or you know what I mean, like something like that. Like a friend, you separate that person because you know that because of their characteristics and because of what they've shown in their actions. You know what I mean, they you know what I mean, they can actually they actually do something different from that type of person. It's like I'm over here
No, you two
listening to
are.
myself talking like this.
Nah, sloggy. No, so if I could, before we continue, so you would say that a friend, you got to prove a friend, right?
Right.
Like, you can't just, like, in today's day and age, you see a lot, like, you might grow up with some people, you might know them from down the block or whatever. You might go to the same school. You might, eat at the same lunch table. You might slave together, whatever. But is that really your friend? So the word friend gets thrown around quite a bit nowadays. But there's a lot of people, I mean, if I may, there's a lot of us that came into the truth. We had friends, so we thought, before we came into the truth, right? We all did. But then when you come into the truth, you realize what a real friend really is. But we're going to be going over that today. So I'll give everybody a second to tune in, and we'll get started with the prayers. We got Priest and Officer Shabal, Shalom Lord Christ Adawan,
Hey, Shalom Christ,
holding it down in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Most definitely.
Got Priest and Officer of 1,000, Ash Kawar,
Hey, what's going
Shalom
on?
Adawan.
Shalom.
Mhm. Let's see. We have a sister in here, Olivia.
What's going on, sis?
All right, Most High in Christ. Most High in
Update
Christ.
us on update us on young man James too. Let us know what's going on with that brother.
And Most High in Christ. If you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe.
I mean, if you got some questions, also put them in the chat.
Oh yes, please, most definitely. Give everybody just a quick second. We'll get started. And we're going to be reading out of the book of 1 Samuel chapter 18. That's what we're going to be reading out of today. Going over some examples of what a friend is and is not.
Right.
Because like what Priest and Officer Natazak said, you got to prove a friend.
Right.
You got to prove through your actions, though. So we're going to talk about that today.
All right. Can't be all talk.
Yeah, definitely can't do that.
That's a good precept too, because John was loyal as hell.
All right. All right. So we're gonna start. We're gonna begin. So with that, Amijam, just me and the brother up here.
La Yasharala,
Which is Hebrew for to Israel. Sorry.
What's going on, Sister Lorna?
Sorry, it's me.
Oh yeah.
Amajim upon Yahakwadam, which means to stand and face the east. We're going to be getting started with the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. As usual, if you haven't watched any of our classes already for Sabbath service, whenever you pray, sisters, make sure to have your heads covered. Brothers, always make sure to have your heads uncovered.
Sure. Stand up.
Now we're going to get started with the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Abanawa,
Shabbat Shemayim,
Kodash, Hayah,
Shemka, Yahweh,
Malak with Ka,
Taba'ah,
Batazaka,
Batazaka,
Hayah,
Aisha,
Ba'arataza,
Kawa,
Hayah,
Bashamayim,
Tanlanawa,
Latanyanawa,
Lakam,
Call, Yawum,
Wasalaknawa,
Kabawatnawa,
Hasalaknawa,
Kabawatinawa,
Wala'ah,
Tabayanawa,
Banasaiwan,
a ball,
Hawashinawa,
Mayan,
Rai,
Kaya, Laka,
Hamalakwa,
Hamalakwath, Wala'ala, Wataparath, Wala'alyum, Amun. So like it. The Lord's Prayer in the English. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yahweh, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth, as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it.
Hakak, which is the power in the Hebrew. Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai,
Baba Kasha,
Tanlanawa,
Latanyanawa,
Hakak,
Hakak,
Larapa'ah, Wakal,
Call.
Makala,
Makala.
Wakal,
Wakal.
Madawa,
Madawa.
Hakak,
Hakak.
Latahar,
Latahar.
Ha,
Ha.
Matazariah,
Matazariam.
Hakak,
Hakak.
Lahakwai,
Laquayam.
Hamathium,
Hamathium.
Hakak,
Hakak.
Al,
Al.
Rakawath,
Rakawak.
Tama'ala,
Atama'ala.
Lagarashun,
Lagarashum.
Ba'ashum,
Ba'ashum.
Yawashai,
Yawashai.
the water,
The water.
Aman.
Aman. Hakak. The power in the English. Yahweh.
Yahweh,
In the name of
in the
Yahushua.
name of Yahushai,
Please
please
give us the power.
give us the power.
The power to heal.
Power to heal
All manner of sickness.
all manner of sickness
And all manner of disease.
and all manner of disease.
The power to cleanse the lepers.
The power to cleanse the leper.
The power to raise the
The
dead.
power to raise the dead.
The power against unclean
The
spirits.
power against unclean spirits.
To cast them out
To cast them out.
in the name of
In
Yahushua.
the name of Yahushai.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So be it.
So be it. The blessings in the Hebrew. Barakatah Yahweh.
Barakatah Yahweh.
Wa Yahushai.
Wa Yahushai.
Wa Mayaka Allah.
Wa Ma'aka'ala.
Wa Alahayim.
Wa Alahayim.
Matazab Ya'ab.
Matazab Ya'ab.
Alawat Yahana.
Alawap Yahana.
Ha Alawapim.
Ha Alawapim.
Ha Saranyam.
Hasaramyam.
Ha Kwatazayoyim.
Hakwatazayoyim.
Ha Kayayoyim.
Hachayoyim.
Wa Ha'akwathiim.
Wa Agwathim.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Ba'ashem.
Ba'asham.
Yahushai.
Yahushai.
The water.
The water.
Amen.
Aman. The blessings in the English. Bless you, Yahweh,
Bless you, Yahweh.
and Yahushua,
And Yahushai.
and Michael,
And Michael.
and the angels.
And the angels.
Commanding General Yohanan,
Commanding General Yohanan.
the generals,
The generals.
the captains,
The captains.
the officers,
The officers.
and the troopers.
And the troopers.
Salakia. Salakia. The officers,
The officers.
the troopers,
The troopers.
and the sisters.
And the sisters.
Yahweh,
Yahweh.
in the name of
In the
Yahushua,
name of Yahushai.
thank you.
Thank you.
So be it.
So be it. This is Psalms 121 in the Hebrew. Asha'ah.
Ashah,
Ayunya.
Ayimya,
All.
All,
Hahorim.
Ahayim,
Mayan.
Mayan,
Yaba'ah.
Yaba'ah,
Isaiah.
Isaiah,
Isaiah.
Isaiah,
Ma'aim.
Ma'am,
Yahweh.
Yahweh,
Aisha.
Aisha,
Shemayim.
Shemayim,
Wa'aratazah.
Rataza,
All.
All,
Yathan.
Yathan,
Mamawat.
Amawat,
Galka.
Galka,
All.
All,
Yanawam.
Yawam,
Shamorka.
Shamalka,
Hana.
Ana,
La'ah.
La'ah,
Yanawam.
Yawam,
Wala'ah.
Wala'ah,
Yayashun.
Yayashum,
Shawamar.
Shalmar,
Yasharala.
Yasharala,
Yahweh.
Yahweh,
Shamorka.
Shamalka,
Yahweh.
Yahweh,
Tazalka.
Tazalka,
Al-Yad.
Ayad,
Yamyamka.
Yamimka,
Yabamam.
Yawam,
Hashamash.
Hashemash,
La'ah.
La'ah,
Yakaka.
Yakakab,
Wa'arach.
Ara,
Walayala.
La'ala,
Yahweh.
Yahweh,
Yashamorka.
Yashamarka,
Makal.
Makal,
Rai.
Rai,
Yashamar.
Yashamar,
Athnapashka.
Afna Pashka,
Yahweh.
Yahweh,
Yashamar.
Yashamar,
Taza'afka.
Taza
Waba wa'afka.
Babu Abka,
Ma'ita.
Ma'ida,
Wa'ai.
Wa'ai,
I will
Psalms 121 in the English. I will lift up mine eyes into the hills.
I will lift up my eyes into the hills.
From whence cometh my help?
From whence cometh my help?
My help cometh from the Lord,
My help cometh from the Lord,
which made heaven and earth.
which made heaven and earth.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He that keepeth thee
He that keepeth thee
will not slumber.
will not slumber.
Behold,
Behold,
he that keepeth Israel
he that keepeth Israel
shall neither slumber nor sleep.
shall neither slumber nor sleep.
The Lord is thy keeper.
The Lord is thy keeper.
The Lord is thy
The
shade
Lord is thy shade
upon thy right hand.
upon thy right hand.
The sun shall not smite thee by day,
The sun shall not smite thee by day,
nor the moon by night.
nor the moon by night.
The Lord shall preserve thee
The Lord shall preserve thee
from all evil.
from all evil.
He shall preserve thy soul.
He shall preserve thy soul.
The Lord shall preserve thy going out
The Lord shall preserve thy going out
and thy coming in
and thy coming in
from this time forth
from this time forth
and even forevermore.
and even forevermore. This is Psalms 83 in the Hebrew. Alahayim.
Alahayim,
All. Damaya.
Damaya,
Laka.
Laka,
All. Lakarash.
Dakarash,
Wa'al.
Wa'al,
Tashakwat.
Dashakwat,
All.
Kaya,
Kaya.
Hana,
Hana.
Hana,
Awayibika.
Ayibika,
Yahama.
Yahama,
Yawan.
Yawam,
Ra'ash.
Ra'ash,
I'll.
I'll,
Imaka.
Imaka,
Ya'imwa.
Ya'imwa,
Sawada.
Sawada,
Waita.
Waitha,
Yaitazawa.
Yatazawa,
I'll.
Al,
Tazapawanyaka.
Tazapawanyaka,
Amarwa.
Amarwa,
Lakawa.
Lakara,
Wanakakinam.
Wadakakidam,
Magoya.
Magaya,
Wala'a.
Wala,
Yazakar.
Yasakar,
Shum.
Shum,
Yasharala.
Yasharala,
Iwada.
Awada,
Kaya.
Kaya,
Naitazawa.
Atazawa,
Laba.
Labat,
Yakadwa.
Yakadwa,
Al Yaka.
Adyaka,
Baryath.
Baya,
Yakarath.
Yakaratwa,
Aliyah.
Aliyah,
Adawam.
Adawam,
Wa.
Wa,
Yashamai.
Yashamai,
Alayam.
Aliyam,
Mawa'aba.
Mawa'aba,
Wahagoria.
Wa'agariam,
Gabal.
Gabal,
Wayamawan.
Wamawam,
Wayamalak.
Wamalak,
Palashah.
Palashath,
Am Yashabi.
Am Yashabia,
Tazawar.
Tazawar,
Gum. Gum, Ashawar,
Alawat,
Imum, Hayawa,
Zarwai,
Labunya,
Lawat,
Salah,
Aisha,
Lahum,
Kamugyam,
Kasaya,
Sara'ah,
Kayyabim,
Banakal,
Kayashwan,
Yashabiwa,
Bayan,
Daira,
Hayawa,
Dama,
La'ah,
Dama,
Shayatamwa,
Nada,
Yamawa,
Kairab,
Wakaza Abba, Wakatazal, Manai, Call, Nasayakama, Bashar, Amarwa, Narasha, Nawat, Ath, Nawath, Alahaya, Shayatamwa, Kagogala, Kakwash, Lapunya, Rabaka, Kaash, Tabaira, Yaira, Wa, Kalahaba, Kalaat, Haryam, Kun, Dawadatma, Basairaka, Wabasa, Wapatka, Tabalam, Walaa, Palaham, Kalawam, Waya, Bakashwa, Shamka, Yahawa, Yabashwa, Waya, Bahawa, Ayai, Waya, Kapadwa, Waya, Abadwa, Waya, Daiwa, Kaya, Ata, Shamka, Yahawa, Labadka, Ayawam, Al, Call, Haratazar. Psalms 83 in the English. Keep not thy silence, O God, and hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God, for lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, Come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom, and the Ishmaelites, of Moab, and the Hagarenes, Gabal, and Ammon, and Amalek, the Philistines, with the inhabitants of Tyre. Assur also is joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot. Salah. Do unto them as unto the Midianites, as to Sisera, as to Jabin, at the brook of Kasan, which perished at Endor. They became as dung for the earth. Make their nobles like Oreb, and like Zaid. Yea, all their princes as Zabah, and as Almunah, who said, Let us take to ourselves the houses of God in possession. Oh my God, make them like a wheel, as a stubble before the wind, as a fire burneth a wood, and as the flame set the mountains on fire. So persecute them with thy tempest, and make them afraid with thy storm. Fill their faces with shame, that they may seek thy name. O Lord, let them be confounded, and troubled forever. Yea, let them be put to shame, and perish, that men may know that thou, whose name alone is Yahweh, art the most high over all the earth. You may be seated. Let's give the Most High a hand. All right, so today we're going to be going over some of the accounts of David before he was King David, a brother by the name of Jonathan, and also a brother by the name of Saul. We're going to be going over some examples of what a friend is, a little bit on brotherhood, and what it's not also. So we're going to be going over 1 Samuel chapter 18, verses 1 through 7. If you haven't watched our classes already, we go through the first 7 verses in the Hebrew. So the brother next to me is going to be reading it in the Hebrew. Then we're going to go over it in the English, and then we're going to be giving the breakdown. So 1 Samuel chapter 18, verse 1. That's what that'll be where we will be beginning at.
All right. Syrian for this one. Oh no, I left my Syrian book here. Okay.
What's going on? Shalom, Israel. Shalom, shalom. Okay.
Oh yeah. Okay. I forgot. You said 1 Samuel's in what chapter?
1 Samuel chapter 18, verse 1.
18. Yeah, most definitely, sis. Let me know. I mean, I'm gonna shoot my number too. So I mean, whenever you get time, you can hit me up. All right, so we're gonna be doing the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 18 and verse 1 in the Hebrew. Why Yahweh ba babal tawa lara bara ala ya sha'a wala wana pash ya Yahweh nathar ba bakwash raha bana pash ra Slovakia darar waya habawa waya haba hawa Yahwa nata za bana pash waya kwa hawa sha'a wa baya wam ha wa wala nata ba wa lasha
waba bayata abaya waya karata yahawa ba thaiza wada wada ba bara yath baata ba bata wa atawa kana pasha waya ta pasha ta yahawa nata za a ata ma aya ashara I'll like it. It's like it. Why ya ta pa? Oh no, it's like it. I'm gonna bring the same one. Lara wa da wama daya I looks like a I daya ka karabawa wa I daya kwasha kawa wa I daya kaga rawa waya taza dawa da baka ashara washla nawa sha'a yasha kaya waya sham hawa sha'a I'll ana shaya hana la ham hamha waya to ba I naya kala ya I'm wagam ba I yun I da ya sha'a waya haya bawa bashab dawa ma maha Mahaka Kayata Aita Hapala Shah Daya Wata Taza Anaha Hana Shayam Maka Laya Raya Yash Ra'al Lashwa Lash Ra Wahama Kha Wata Laquar Arth Wala Hamalara Bata Param Bashma Kwaha Waba Shah La Shayam.
And that's it.
All right, let's dive it up. All right, so we're going to be going over the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 18, verse 1. And it came to pass when he had made an end of speaking unto Saul, that the soul of Jonathan was knit with the soul of David. Now, before we continue, give y'all a brief history on Saul. So Saul was the first king of Israel. He was a Benjamite brother, right? Now, at this time, before Saul came along, other nations had kings. Now, being as disobedient as we've been many, many times with the Most High, we wanted to be like other nations, right? We wanted to be like other nations because they had these, what we thought were great kings, right? So this angered the Most High because nobody else served God, the Most High. We do though, but even throughout all that, we still wanted to be like other nations. So at this point, like the Most High is offended. Like they got kings, yeah, that's cool and everything, but I'm the Most High. Like what you want to have a king for? But the Most High gave us a king. He gave us a king out of his anger, though. So in came Saul. So Saul is a perfect example of what not to be. Saul was made king, right? And at one point, the Lord was with Saul until his ego got to him. His ego got to him because he didn't really have any other kings before him to kind of gauge off of. So you got to understand at this time, like he has all the power. Like he's the first king of Israel. You get my point? He has servants and things that kings have, riches, power, whatever you could think of. So it all got to his head to the point where he stopped giving praise unto the Most High, and he started being disobedient and doing things that he wanted to do. He wasn't giving any praise to the Most High. So what ended up happening was the brother was told to slay the Amalekites at the time, right? The brother didn't hearken on to the Lord's voice and disobeyed him. And because of that, the Lord stripped his blessing away from Saul and gave it on. I believe he said that he's going to make a man better than him. In comes a shepherd, David. Now, David, this is before he was king, right? Now, at this time period, Slakia, it was a brother that was sent to go find David. Sam, Thwada.
Oh.
So now at this point, okay, when you think of like a king, right, like the next king or like a mighty warrior, we think carnally. We think of like probably like a big, like, I don't know, like Shaq looking brother, like 6 foot something, 7 foot, big, strong, mighty physically. That's what we think of. But the Lord does not see man the way that we see man.
Right.
He judges you based off of your spirit, your character. Now, at this point, David was sought out, and David David wasn't like his brothers. Like, they probably had, it doesn't say, but they probably had like battle scars, all that, like they just looked like rough, like a warrior physically, right? But David, it said in the scriptures that he was ruddy. For those of y'all who don't know what ruddy is, ruddy can be translated to red, like we use today. I know a lot of Judites say this, like a red bone, somebody who's light skinned. It doesn't say how light he was, but he was, a lighter skinned brother. Lord said that he was a very handsome brother.
Yeah, it was a pretty boy.
I hate this. I hate to call him that, but I don't really know what else to say.
That was probably overdoing it.
No. I know it's not a okay.
David he was a attractive male.
He was, pretty much.
You know what I'm saying?
But the Lord described him this way for a reason, to let us know, like, it didn't matter what he looked like.
Yeah,
he was worried about his spirit. So when he was
his brothers was different.
Yeah, his brothers was different.
His
so he
brothers
was,
were big and
he was
bulky,
big, strong, like a warrior. That's what we think of.
Right.
But David was tending to the sheep.
Right.
He was a shepherd. And the way he loved and tended to the herd, he would do the same for Israel in the future. But that's a whole nother account. So this is David before King David, right? So at this time, I don't want to give it away just yet. Saul is still king right now, by the way. And it says, we'll recap real quick. Chapter 18, verse 1. And it came to pass when he had made an end of speaking unto Saul that the soul of Jonathan was knit with the soul of David. So Jonathan was Saul's son. So we're going to continue. And Jonathan loved him as his own soul. So him and David, like, they was cool. Like, this is like, how, like, I mean, everybody does. You got, like, we all brothers, obviously. But, like, you just love to dwell with, like, certain brothers and stuff like that. That's your homeboy. But he been A1 since day one. Right. That was David and Jonathan, right? So in verse 2. And Saul took him that day and would let him go no more. Oh, Salakia. And Saul took him that day and would let him go no more home to his father's house. Verse 3. Then Jonathan and David made a covenant because he loved him as his own soul. He loved him as if he would love himself. Right. That's something to take into mind. And Jonathan stripped himself of the robe that was upon him and gave it to David and his garments, and even to his sword and to his bow and to his girdle. Now, before I continue, I want to make it very clear right here. Christians love to misconstrue a lot of things, right?
Yeah, most definitely.
So we have to look at the context of this. So it said, and Jonathan stripped himself of the robe that was upon him.
They think that he was naked.
Yeah, like they try to make it seem like he
got butt naked.
He just took off everything and he's just showing his nakedness onto David. Like, oh, here you go. Okay, what do me and the brother got on right now?
Yeah, that was going to say, so like, if I was to take this off, I still got pants.
Exactly, still has clothes.
A shirt, like,
right? And that's exactly the point I was trying to make. Like, so if I was to like give my garment to Natazak, clearly, like the brother just showed, I got clothes underneath. It wasn't like he was naked. So let's just debunk that right now.
So like, if I may too, like,
go ahead.
That just shows, like, you know what I mean? Because they're dwelling on the fact that they loved each other as their own selves. They don't really understand the strength of brotherhood because you don't get that in the churches. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The strength of brotherhood, like, I love this brother like I love my own self. Like, honestly, probably a little bit more, because if it ever came to a time period where it was us standing in front of a bullet, you know what I'm saying? I'd rather take the hit. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, you know what I mean? They take it as, okay, well, he loved him. Like it was an intimate type
Oh yeah, they
of
try to
thing.
make it sound like romantic.
Yeah, like
yeah.
they don't really get it. You know what I mean? They don't get it because they're looking at it from an oppressor mindset.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The oppressor that's his doctrine.
Right.
So when they see that, oh yeah, like David and John loved each other, they would think that, okay, they had some type of intimate relationship.
Yeah.
Not knowing that David, you know what I mean, Salakia.
Go ahead. Go ahead. What you about to say?
David had some things on him. You know what I'm saying? Like David had some things. Like David. Salakia. King David had multiple wives. You know what I'm saying? Like he loved women so much so, like, you know what I mean, he had to pay for some certain things that he did. But You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
yeah.
But David loved women. So
Mhm.
the fact that they try to blend in the relationship between him and John, it's just because him and John, they had that. I mean, they had that bond. They
Yeah,
had
it
that
was a brotherhood.
relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was brotherhood. Like, and then not just that, like, you know what I mean? It was so much so that John even, you know what I mean, conspired. I wouldn't say conspired against his dad, but he went behind his dad's back just to make sure that David was safe and okay. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, you know what I mean? Like they like these were brothers right here.
Right.
These are straight up brothers. Like when they see each other, it's just like, you know what I mean? Should be good now. You hear something?
Wait,
Yep.
check.
That's it.
Check. Okay.
Yeah, we good.
Okay, we good. Okay, Salakia Israel. Yeah, we had some problems going on with the computer, but we tawab now.
That's all right,
Salakia.
Christ. We good.
The water for bearing through with us. We're gonna continue the class. So okay. So we left off of. Okay. So we were talking about David and Jonathan. David and Jonathan. That's what we're talking about. So for anybody that is like just now tuning in, or for anybody that doesn't remember where we were reading out of First Samuel chapter 18, and as of right now, we are currently in verse 4. And what the brother was speaking of earlier, like that, what you brought up was real heavy, like that Christian mindset. A lot of Christians will try to make this relationship, if you will, between Jonathan and David. They try to make it seem like they a bunch of sodomites or something like that. Like it's like some Sodom and Gomorrah type stuff. Like no, they were brothers. Like they had a brotherhood. And Jonathan was just looking out for David. You get my point? To the point where, and this is not something very easy for some people to do, by the way, for what Jonathan did. A lot of people, it's very hard to go against what your family wishes, to do what's right. So turn that off. But he went against his father in a sense. Like Saul was being very evil towards David. You get my point? And we're going to begin into a few things that Saul was trying to do to David and the jealousy that he was exhibiting towards him. But even despite all that, despite that this was his father who was king at the time also, he showed a sense of true brotherhood and friendship towards David. So we're going to go over verse 4 one more time. So this is the book of 1 Samuel chapter 18, verse 4. And Jonathan stripped himself of the robe that was upon him. He wasn't naked. He had clothes on, and gave it to David and his garments, even to his sword and his bow and his girdle. So he gave him his weapons too, to make sure that David was good. He was looking out for him. So verse 5. And David went out whithersoever Saul sent him, and behaved himself wisely. And Saul set him over the men of war. So quick recap, right? David is serving under Saul. He's in Saul's army. So right now, Saul appointed David over the other men. So like now he's a leader in a sense. He's climbing up through the ranks. And he was accepted in the sight of all the people, and also in the sight of all of Saul's servants. Verse 6. And it came to pass as they came, when David was returned from the slaughter of the Philistine, that the women came out of all of the cities of Israel. Now, another quick recap. So the Philistines, we were at war at this time, right? Now, at this time, I'm pretty sure y'all heard of David and Goliath, right? And how David slew Goliath. But at this time, though, we had an army, of Israelite men, Black, Hispanic, and Native men who were afraid of Goliath. Goliath was a big Hamite, okay? Physically strong, really mighty in their eyes, right? And a lot of brothers, they wanted no smoke with Goliath. But right. David had the Lord with him. This goes to show what the Lord is willing to do for you. So David had the Lord with him, and he slew Goliath. He slew Goliath. Nobody else wanted to do it, but David did it. You get my point? So at this time, I was talking about when David was returned from the slaughter of the Philistine, Goliath, the Philistines, that the women came out of the cities of Israel singing and dancing to meet King Saul with tabrets, with joy, and with instruments of music. So it was like a celebration. If I could just paint a picture real quick, you got to think like this is brothers and sisters, by the way. Like this is us. Yeah. All right. And you know how we get down. Whenever we throw a party, we're like we over exaggerate everything. Like if I could real quick, like we really throw a celebration for like anything. Like it could be like our daughter, like graduate in the 8th grade,
Mm-hmm.
and we make it into like a huge deal. Like, oh my goodness, I can't. But like, that's just what we do. That's how Israel get down.
It's like if I may too, like look what we did for Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving would not be a day worth serving if we weren't involved with it.
Ooh, that's heavy.
That's
heavy.
We put the spice into it. Like they ain't
Right.
know nothing about no damn, no gravy, no potatoes,
Right.
and like all that stuff like that. Like we put the sauce into everything, but sadly we put the sauce into heathen customs.
Right. That's heavy too. I'm glad you brought that up. Like a lot of these heathen customs, we make it cool.
Right.
Like Salakia, like Israel made good night, Thanksgiving cool. We made Christmas cool. Like okay, not to get too off topic, but Christmas, right? Let's say if every Israelite in America alone just stopped celebrating Christmas. Like Christmas came along, we didn't buy nothing. We just ignored it. Do you know what would happen to the economy? It would plummet. It's already plummeting,
Right.
thanks to the Most High.
Right.
But what you said was real heavy. Like we make everything great.
And
With
that's
the
a
salt of
fact
the
too,
earth.
because they plot these holidays in a structural order so that their society thrives. You know what I'm saying? So as we keep serving them, and as we keep following the ways of the heathen, we make the if all these holidays didn't exist, stores would probably go out of business.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of stores will go out of business. A lot of things will go out of business, but it's because of the sauce we put on it, and we have to serve these things. Like, and it sucks because as we're disobeying the Lord, we're fulfilling the ways of the people who conquered us.
Right.
But if we even knew our custom, if we knew that we were doing the wrong thing, and like you said, like if we was to stop that, their economy would just drop. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but
Salakia.
Salakia, not to get too off topic, but we're gonna continue with the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 18, verse 7. So, quick recap. This is brothers Saul, David. Saul's army. Coming back from slaying the Philistines. Right? We're celebrating. So it says in verse 7, and the women answered one another as they played and said, Saul hath slain his thousands.
Right.
Salakia. So right here, they're giving praise to Saul. Like, Saul, you gotta think, like, they're probably like yelling, like, Saul has slain his thousands. Like, they just, But then it says, and David his 10,000s. So you gotta think Saul coming in, Saul was very egotistical at that time too, very big-headed, very prideful. So it probably made him feel good, like, yeah, I slain my thousands. The women of the city, they praising me right now.
Right.
But then here come David, and it said, and David his 10,000s. You got to understand that probably hurt Saul's pride, man. To hear that the man under him that serves in his army is doing better than him. So it says right here in verse 8, and this proves it too. And Saul was very wroth, and the saying of and David his 10,000s, and the saying displeased him. And he said, they have ascribed unto David 10,000s, and to me they have ascribed but thousands. And what can he have more but the kingdom? So before I even say it, so verse 9, and Saul eyed David from that day and forward. So now Saul felt threatened. You gotta remember the Most High, he took his blessing away from Saul, and he warned him, like, I'm gonna raise a man better than you. And it's happening right before Saul's eyes. You gotta remember, he's king, he got everything. He got the kingdom, probably got women, he got servants, he got riches, he got a palace, he got a mighty army. They just came back from slaying the Philistines. He's very on high right now, at least in his head. But now he's hearing throughout the city, the sisters there, they praising David, his 10,000s. Now he feels threatened by David. Jealousy. Saul was jealous of David, which is very wrong to do.
Right.
Okay, don't be jealous of your brother, man. Okay, it don't matter if the brother's under you, above you, whatever. A brother is a brother. Okay, if you see him doing great, you congratulate that brother. Don't be like Saul. And we're gonna continue to read more of why you should not be like Saul, and you should be like Jonathan. So it says in verse 10. And it came to pass on the morrow that the evil spirit from God came upon Saul. Slagia. And he prophesied in the midst of the house. And David played with his hand as at other times. And there was a javelin in Saul's hand. Okay, look, Slakia. I'm Judah. My mother's side is Benjamin. So I'm very familiar with Benjamites, okay? I'm very our so-called West Indian brothers and sisters today. You could turn on the TV and look at the Olympics, okay? Benjamites be getting down, man. They are Salakia. They are athletic as hell. You know, I'm Salakia. So, and Saul was known for being a very, like, towering brother. Like, okay, I'm trying to think, okay, Usain Bolt. He'd as of right now, he's been the fastest man on the planet.
Right.
He a Benjamite. And look at how Usain Bolt is built. Like, he's tall. All right. You get my point? So the reason why I'm putting this picture in your head is it says right here, as at other times, there was a javelin in Saul's hand.
Right.
I don't know if anybody's ever seen this event in the Olympics. Javelins are, it's definitely longer than this table.
Right.
And when people, it's a spear, man. Okay, when people throw this thing, you ever seen a Benjamite throw a javelin? Let me just continue. Salakia. Verse 11. And Saul cast the javelin, for he said, I will smite David even to the wall with it. And David avoided out of his presence twice. So, oh my goodness. Okay. So Saul had a javelin,
which was tall, and Saul was like tall in stature. Like,
right?
He was a big,
like he's an imposing brother. You get my point?
He wasn't.
Yeah, and he grabbed a javelin. Arm's not even wide enough for that. Okay.
Yeah, he was really trying to kill David.
For he said, I will kill David with Slakia, even to the wall with it. So when he threw this javelin, it went into the wall. This is a wall. All right. Imagine somebody throwing a spear so hard it punctures the wall.
Yeah.
Like he was gonna puncture David through the wall.
Saul was hating.
Man, hating is, I think that's an understatement at this point.
Yeah,
like
he wanted to take him out.
And you see, if I could real quick, you see what jealousy does? You see, it said right here, if I could, I'm gonna go up to verse 10 real quick. And it came to pass on the morrow that the evil spirit from God came upon Saul, jealousy. He, like you said, he was hating on David to the point that he wanted to kill David. That's a problem in the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian community today. We always got beef with one another. Okay, that's why I wanted this topic of what a friend truly is, because we like to throw around the term friend so much, right? But what is a friend? Like, what is a friend? Because Saul was anything but a friend to David. Exactly. At this point right now. We haven't even continued reading yet, to the point that you got to kill him.
Yeah,
and to get into like the details of it, right? What did David really do? He knew, right? David knew that Saul wasn't really rocking with him. But despite all that, he still served in his army. He followed all the instructions that were given to him when he told him to go slay the Philistines and do, like, David did everything that Saul told him to do, and then some. Okay. And Saul was so jealous of him that he wanted to kill him. David didn't do nothing, right? David didn't do nothing. Jonathan showed what a true friend really is. And we'll get into the definition of what a friend actually is according to the Bible. So, if I could, matter of fact, okay, let's go to verse 12. And Saul was afraid of David because the Lord was with him. There you go, right there. Saul was afraid of David because the Lord was with him. Saul knew, all right?
Right.
He knew what he messed up in the past. Now he was seeing what the Lord prophesied already coming into fruition, and was departed from Saul. The Lord was not with Saul, okay? Therefore Saul removed him from him and made his captain over and made him his captain over 1,000, and he went out and came in before the people. And David behaved himself wisely in all his ways, and the Lord was with him. Wherefore, when Saul saw that he behaved himself very wisely, he was afraid of him. Now, why would he be afraid of David? Right here. Now, he knew that the Lord was with him, obviously, right? But David was also showing something that a lot of, dare I say it, brothers don't have today in the world: self-control. It could have been so, like, okay, in the world, right? If somebody trying to kill somebody, right? A brother try to kill another brother or sister, whatever, right? And let's say that brother or sister retaliated and they ended up defending themselves and ended up killing them, killing the very person that was trying to kill them. It almost sounds justifiable, right? In the world. But David right here, he had the Lord with him. He did everything that Saul told him to do. And even after Saul already tried to kill David, he's still showing restraint. Like, I'm not going to do that to you. Everything you tell me to do, I'm going to do it.
Right.
It said that he behaved himself very wisely. He was wise. The Lord was with this brother. And because of that self-control that David was showing, being wise, showing that the Lord being with him, it like troubled Saul. Like, he's not even giving into his carnal ways. He's
Right.
showing a sense of self-discipline.
Yeah, because he'll look bad in that situation.
Right.
If he's just sitting over here trying to torment David and kill him for no reason, like, I mean, David's showing the utmost appreciation. Like, you know what I mean? Like, David looked up to Saul.
Mhm.
I mean, so he's just like, you know what I mean? If okay, say a hater hating on somebody that loves him. You know what I mean?
Man.
Like David loves Saul. Like David
Right.
David didn't sitting over there and show no that type of like, oh yeah, I got some animosity towards you because you don't like me. Like, nah, he's still, you know what I mean? Yeah, con on con. You know what I'm saying?
He's still doing it.
So
That's not an easy thing to do, too.
like it too, yeah.
Yeah, that's not an easy thing to do. Again, showing that self-restraint that David had. Now, says after this in verse 16, but all Israel and Judah loved David because he went out and came in before them. So we're actually going to go down to verse. Oh, okay. Yeah, because I wanted to talk about this too. So we're going to go down to verse 20. The book of 1 Samuel, chapter 18, verse 20. And Michal, Saul's daughter, loved David. And they told Saul, and the thing pleased him. Now, this okay. So verse 21, right? Saul tries to do something right here. And Saul said, I will give him her to be a snare to him. What's a snare? If anybody wants to answer that. What's a snare? Like, just take a guess. Like, when you hear snare, like, what do you think of? Like a snare. Like, okay, I'm gonna read it one more time for you. So it says in verse 21, and Saul said, I will give him her, his daughter. He's gonna give David his daughter to wife, that she may be a snare to him. What do you think that is?
Honestly, I don't think nothing like in this context. When I hear snare, I hear drum.
You say you hear what?
I hear like the snare drum. So like
Oh, snare drum.
Oh, okay,
Swap,
okay.
you got something, Swap?
Okay. There you go. Trap. He was trying to set David up. Like, yeah, I'm gonna give you my daughter, but she's gonna be like a trap to you. Like a like
A burden.
yeah, like what's that brother named PJ Washington?
Yeah,
Like, that's
yeah.
just one example. Like, child support, stuff like that. Like, that's like a snare, like a trap. We hear that term even today. Like, oh yeah, she trapped him. Got a baby by him. They're not together. Now, she's collecting child support from him. Something like that, right? You hear that all the time in the black community.
Spiteful child.
Yeah, just spiteful. So Saul, this is how much Saul was a hater, man. And Saul said, I will give him her that she may be a snare, a trap, just like what Sawab said, to him, and that the hand of the Philistines may be against him. Wherefore Saul said to David, thou shalt this day be my son-in-law in the one of the twain. So
Saul was on some.
Saul was
Man.
look, this is the perfect example of what not to be to your people, man. Saul was a hater. Saul, I mean, I would say some other stuff, but I can't for the sake of the class. I'm trying to keep it kind of PG, but Saul was a hater, just like you said. Saul was a hater. All right. But then let's talk about Jonathan, Saul's son, right? Now, we're actually going to go to the book of 1 Samuel chapter 19, verse 1. And Saul spake to Jonathan, his son, to all his servants, that they should kill David. So here we go again. Saul trying to plot on David. Just never ended. Now, verse 2. Now it says, but Jonathan, Saul's son, delighted much in David. That was his boy, you know. And Jonathan told David, saying, Saul my father seeketh to kill thee. Now therefore I pray thee, take heed to thyself until the morning, and abide in a secret place, and hide thyself. And I will go out and stand beside my father in the field where thou art, and I will commune with my father of thee and what I see, and I will tell thee. So again, this is a good example of what a real friend is, a real brother, right? This is, you got to imagine Jonathan's position, right? We talked a lot about Saul and David. Let's talk about Jonathan real quick. His father, his own father, who is the king at this time, has a lot of power physically, right? He's telling his servants and Jonathan to plot against David and kill him. But Saul, you know, not Saul, Jonathan and David, they was cool. So he's like, hey man, look, he pulled him to the side, like, hey man, I got something to tell you. Look, my dad tripping. All right. Him and his servants, he even told me, like, we gotta kill you. So this is what I'm gonna tell you. You gotta find some place to hide, you know, protect yourself. And he's even saying, like, you know, I'm gonna go commune with my father. He's gonna play it off. Like he was, I don't want to say he was plotting against Saul. That's not the right way to say it. Saul was plotting against David, and Jonathan was moving accordingly to protect David, right? He was looking out for him. That's a real friend right there. All right. Now, we're talking about a lot of what a friend is, what it's not, good examples, bad examples, right? Now, we covered this account real quick in 1 Samuel chapter 18 and a little bit of 19 with Saul, Jonathan, and David. But now let's talk about what exactly is a friend. So if I could I get John chapter 15, verse 12, Baba Kasha? We're going to talk about what a friend is according to the Most High.
The book of John, chapter 15 and verse 12. And the younger of them said to his father, Father, give me the portion of goods that falleth to me.
Oh, Salaki, that's
John? First John?
No, John, not First John.
Oh, Salaki. I'm on both.
John chapter 15, verse 12.
The book of John, chapter 15 and verse 12. This is my commandment.
Okay, this is the Most High. This is my commandment. Go ahead.
That ye love one another, as I have loved you.
Mm-hmm.
Greater love have no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends.
For his friends. A good example, what Jonathan was doing for David at this time, right? You got to understand, he's at this point, it could easily be seen as he's conspiring against his father, who is the king. I mean, you already saw how Saul moved. So who's to say he wouldn't do the same to his own son? You get my point? It doesn't say, but given Saul's nature, you know, the jealousy, the evil spirit that was on him at this time, for his own flesh and blood to conspire against him, in a sense, Jonathan was laying down his life. Is there any more on that?
Ye are my friends, if ye do whatsoever I command you.
Okay, so this is the part right here. Ye are my friends if ye do whatsoever I command you. So I said this is Christ. Salakia.
Yeah, it's like
Salakia. Let me correct myself. I said that's the Most High. This is Christ speaking right now. So right here in verse 14, the book of John. Ye are my friends if ye do whatsoever I command you. Now we all know who Christ is. All right. So I command you. The commandments. Who were the laws, statutes, and commandments given to? Us. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, our forefathers, Israel. The commandments were given to us. The reason why I'm bringing that up is because to even qualify to be a friend, you got to be within this nation. Like, good night. An Edomite cannot be your friend. I know there's plenty of people out here, they just love the oppressor, man. And it's so sad. They try to look for any bit of good in the oppressor. Like, you ever see like some people, okay, it could be a brother or a sister. Every single year, we're not even there yet, but I know it's going to happen eventually. Black History Month, we learn every single year for a whole month of the atrocities that America has committed against our people, right? But it's like we keep trying to look for some type of good in the oppressor. Like, oh, look, my one Edomite friend over here, they didn't do that. They're not trying to lynch us. They don't call me the N-word and, they don't do all that stuff. That's not your friend, okay? It says right there in verse 14, ye are my friends if ye do whatsoever I command you. The commandments were given to us. So you don't even qualify as a friend unless you're Israel. A Hamite cannot be a friend. African, Philistine, good night. Okay. Ammon, which is the Japanese, the Amalek, which is the Jewish man, which is fake. All right. The Asians, Pacific Islanders, unless you are a so-called Black, Hispanic, or Native, you cannot even qualify to be a friend. Let me just get that right now. And it also says, if ye do in action. Kind of brought what you brought up earlier in the beginning of class. You got to prove a friend. Now, you could walk down the street. There might be a brother. Man, yeah, y'all in the same nation. That's your brother, but is it really your brother? You get my point? You got to prove a friend through actions. If ye do whatsoever I command you, the commandments, keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. This is why I brought up earlier, a lot of us, we had friends before we came into the truth. So we thought anyway, until you start serving the Most High. Next thing you know, some of them friends ain't really rocking with you no more. Like, Slaggy, if I could, I'll speak from personal experience. I had friends for 14, 15, 16 years of my life. I've been through thick and thin with some of these people. Then I started keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. Now all of a sudden, oh, you crazy. Oh, we don't rock with you no more. What you mean you against the LGBTQ community? You can't say that. God loves everybody. You saying that the white man can't be saved? What are you talking about? It says it right there. God doesn't hate. Well, it says that for Jacob I have loved and Esau I have hated. That's in the Bible. So, started to show who my friends really were. Okay? You got to prove a friend. And we've all been through that. Salaki, you was about to say something?
Yeah, Salaki. I just want to add on too, like, because what you're bringing is so heavy. Like, like Christ. Christ, when he came on the scene, it was a scene that looks like the scene that we look at today. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We was in the ghettos. We was in the barrios. We was in the. We was in a low state under under authority of a heathen. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So when Christ came on the scene, we weren't together. You know what I'm saying? We weren't connected. We weren't just like, okay, well, we in the low state. We need to stick together. No, we was in the position we see today, where you got the Jesse Jacksons and all these different Christian churches, separating us and taking everything we got, and like we was in a low state. So when Christ came on the scene, he wanted to display like, no, we're one. We are one together and we're a brotherhood. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And what was Christ's commandments? his commandments was to follow the Lord with all your heart. You know what I'm saying? And love your brother like you love yourself. Because at that time period, we weren't loving each other.
Right.
We didn't love each other. We were separated, just like we separated today. You sit over here and you can tell somebody like, oh, you know what I mean? Like me being Judah, I walk up to Issachar and tell them like, hey, we one of the same. They ain't gonna believe me. You know what I'm saying? Just because we were separated, just like at that time period, there was separation.
Right.
But Christ's whole motive was to bring us together. You know what I'm saying? Bring us together as one and be a unit. You know what I'm saying? Like he said it, like, you know what I mean? Like to be able to sacrifice your life for your friend. You know what I'm saying? We in the ISUPK, you know what I'm saying? We sacrifice our lives. You know what I mean? For the betterment of our people. You know what I'm saying? Because we know the truth. We know who we are. We know what our situation is. We know what Christ was really trying to teach us. So we are trying to, you know what I mean, lay down. We are laying down our lives in order to be able to give people who really don't, you know what I mean, they're not really giving a damn what we talking about. But we still put our lives on the line to spread this message to them. You know what I'm saying? This is what Christ wants. That's why Christ said it's only one body. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people are not willing to sacrifice that much. They're not willing to sacrifice their whole lives in order to, you know what I mean, wake up the dead. You know what I'm saying? They want to do it to their own comfortability, but once it gets uncomfortable, then they gonna fall back a little bit. You know what I'm saying? We are willing to lay down our lives in order to get this message out to our friends. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And really, we how can I say it? Like, really, we're following Christ wholeheartedly. You know what I'm saying? And you got to, because the only thing about it is you gotta bear his cross. You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna take on this task, you're gonna take this role on, and you want to wake up to the truth, you gotta bear his cross. So Christ is telling us, like, his commandments is for us to love the Most High with all our hearts. You know what I mean? How do you love the Most High? You know what I mean? You follow his statutes and commandments. That's how you show love to the Most High. So he wants us to follow the commandments, and he wants us to love each other and have brotherhood amongst each other. Right. That's why brotherhood is so important in this organization. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I mean? It's so heavy, because that's what, if you're following, like, okay, we got certain rules and regulations we're supposed to follow as far as following the Most High. But if you're following brotherhood, how can you sin? You're not sleeping with his wife. Mm-hmm. You're not stealing from him. Exactly. You're not, you know what I mean? You're not doing certain things because you're establishing brotherhood. Even the example of being yourself. I can't smoke weed. I can't smoke crack. Why? Because I got brothers looking up to me and look at me like, okay, you know what I mean? He's in the truth. If he's doing this, then I can do it too. Right. You know what I'm saying? So if you're establishing brotherhood, then you are wholeheartedly following the law, statutes, and commandments. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And it all ties in together. So it's like it.
Nah, everything you said was true. Like leading by example. Like when we come into this truth, like you said, like we put our lives on the line. Both the brothers and the sisters. You know, a friend, okay. I'm gonna give you one quick example before we go to the next scripture. Okay. Family, right? Or even just friends in the world, right? Like, okay, if I see a brother, let's say we in the world, right? I'm sitting somewhere, I'm smoking weed, right? Let's say the brother next to me, he come by, you know, dap it up, hey, what's going on with you, whatever. And instead of telling me, you know, I should put the weed down, he just chops it up with me. That's it. That's not a sense of brotherhood right there. That's not what showing a real friend is, because right there, for anybody that has any type of misconception of that, you're not showing that you really care for that brother. Right. Like if I see a brother that's smoking cigarettes, I'm going to tell him, get the cigarette out your mouth. And I'm going to talk to that brother, like, hey, what's going on with you? Like, why are you doing this? Because I know, first of all, cigarettes lead to cancer. Right. Okay? They tell you that. And we still be smoking. Okay? So you can't sit here and not speak the truth to brothers and sisters and be like, oh, well, you know, that's my friend. That's not your friend, because you're not even showing that you're a friend. Right.
Right.
You're not showing that you really care about that person. People love to say friend or, oh, I care about you, or, oh, I love you and stuff like that. Love is an action. You got to prove that. You get my point? So, and to dive in a little deeper on that too, I'm going to read the book of James, chapter 4, verse 4. So it says right here, ye adulterers and adulteresses, know ye not that the friendship of the world is enmity of with God? So you can't. We went over this a few times. Like, you can't love the world and love the Most High.
Right.
You can't be half and half. Okay, if you love the world, I mean, look at the world, man. Look at the hell that we live in today.
Right.
Like, I mean, I'm lucky. I get news notifications all the time of it's another sister getting kidnapped.
Right.
Somebody body being found dead. Somebody just died. Somebody just committed suicide. And most of the time, it's our people. It's a so-called black person today, so-called Jamaican, so-called Mexican, Puerto Rican, Salvadorian, Native. You know, just my goodness, just not that long ago, we were driving down in California. I didn't even know that there were reservations near San Diego with natives. And people are not allowed to go over there because our Gadite brothers and sisters, they don't trust nobody else. Because look what happened to them. They're forced to live on reservations. That's hell. They can't even trust their own brothers and sisters.
Right.
Some of them don't even know that we're brothers and sisters, right? That's the hell that we live in. So to say you love the world means that you love what's going on. You love the fact that our daughters get kidnapped and molested, okay, and sold into sex trafficking. You love the fact that brothers are dying and killing one another, being incarcerated for sometimes crimes that they never even committed. You just got to fit the description, or we call it DWB, driving while black, stuff like that. You can't love this world, because if you do, it says right here, ye adulterers and adulteresses, know ye not that the friendship of the world is enmity with God? Whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world is the enemy of God. If you love this world, you hate the Most High. Point blank, period. If you love this world, you hate your own nation. Okay, you got to prove a friend. What is a friend? Jonathan showed an example of what a friend is. And if I could, to get in a little bit more on what a friend is not, because Saul definitely showed that, I'm going to read the book of James, chapter 4, verse 11. Speak not evil of one another, brethren. He that speaketh evil of his brother and judgeth his brother speaketh evil of the law. Gossip. This goes for not just brothers, but sisters too. Salakia. Look, I be at the slave. It's a lot of sisters in the world, and brothers too, that be gossiping about each other, talking evil of one another. One thing that I've never understood, Salakia, I seen this a lot in my slave. So it be sisters, right? So-called black Hispanics. They'll be so nice to each other face to face, right? As soon as they split up, you know, she go over here, she go over wherever, they start just talking smack about each other. Oh, I can't stand this. She thinks she all that. Oh, I can't, like, it's like, why are you speaking evil of one another? But then next thing you know, they meet up at a party or something. Oh, hey, how you doing? I'm like, wait, what's going on? You was just dragging her whole name through the mud. You was exposing this sister earlier, telling all her secrets that she trusted you with to everybody else, making her look bad. And now you smiling in front of each other's faces, but y'all was just speaking evil of one another. And it's not just sisters that do that. I just want to make that very clear. It's a lot of brothers that do that too, being real two-faced. You can't be two-faced, man. I'm going to read that one more time for y'all. The book of James, chapter 4, verse 11. Speak not evil of one another, brethren. He that speaketh evil of his brother and judgeth his brother speaketh evil of the law and judgeth the law. Who the hell are you to judge the law? You get my point? But if thou judge the law, thou art not a doer of the law. You're not following the law, statutes, and commandments. You're not showing it. You're not practicing it, okay? But it says, but a judge. You just judging the law. Who are you to judge the law? The law was given to us. So you ever realize, like, when we don't follow the law, statutes, and commandments, our nation just breaks? I mean, you could read all throughout the Bible of many times we chose to go against the law. And you saw what the Most High did to us. Sometimes the Most High didn't even have to do anything. He just took his protection away from us. He didn't have to. There were times he didn't have to curse us. You get my point? He just took the protection away. And when our enemies came around, we didn't have the Most High with us.
Man.
So they were just free to just pick off of us all the time.
Right.
We just saw the example of when the Most High was with David. All the other brothers, they was afraid of Goliath. They didn't want to do it. Saul didn't even fight Goliath. The Lord wasn't with him, but the Lord was with David, and he slew Goliath.
Right.
And he got praise all throughout the city and stuff. But my point being is because the Most High was with him. Okay? When we disobey the law, bad things happen.
Right.
You can read all throughout the Bible into the whole thing of speak not evil of one another. When you gossip about your own brother and sister, you expose yourself. I mean, honestly, you expose yourself because you're showing your true nature, that you hate that brother.
Right.
You hate that sister. Just like how Saul hated David. David still respected Saul, but Saul hated him so much, he threw it. Like, you know how much hate you gotta have to throw a javelin? Like not even like through a wall. Like, you gotta think, like, there's a lot of like anger and strength behind that. Like, he put effort into that.
And they thought he was BS, and they thought he just threw it like on some, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like a little.
They didn't know that Saul really wanted to kill David. Like, you know what I mean? So he threw that, but David seen it. David seen, like, okay, this fool really want to kill me.
He
like,
really trying to kill me.
Yeah, like he really wants to take my head off. But
it's so sad. It really is. But this is why we as a nation, we need to understand what a friend, a brother, like, because brotherhood and sisterhood ties into being a friend. It's one of the same. It might be called different things, but it's one of the same. Okay, you can't have sisterhood if you're not being a friend to your sister. You can't have brotherhood if you're not being a friend to your brother. It's pretty self-explanatory. You get my point? Because if we ain't got, like, we love to say, okay, we have a saying in the UPK, brotherhood is a weapon. I seen somebody post not that long ago. They said brotherhood is a weapon and sisterhood is ammunition. That's heavy. Like, Slaggy, I forgot who posted it. It was somebody in the school, by the way, but I was like, man, that's heavy right there. But I mean, how can brotherhood be a weapon if I'm hating on my brother? You know, and the thing, like, oh my goodness, like Saul, even though David was doing everything he told him to do, that's the crazy thing. Like, he didn't do anything to Saul. He was just serving the Lord, and he hated him for it. He was afraid of him. He had him shook for a moment because it said that, you know, he was behaving wisely. He had self-discipline. He had that self-restraint. Like, no, I ain't gonna kill you. At one point, David pulled up on Saul, and he cut the bottom of his garment and showed it to Saul. Like, look, I could have killed you, but I didn't. He could have ended Saul's life right there.
That's brotherhood right there.
Like, come on, man. Go ahead.
He displayed brotherhood to a man that wanted to kill him. You know what I'm saying?
Man.
Like, I mean, so you can see why the Most High seen favoritism in David. You know what I mean? So, like it.
No, I mean, if I could I get 1 John chapter 3, verse 18? Like you said, yeah, I mean, some people might get a little confused with that. Like, that is a sense of brotherhood, though. Like, just to show you, like, even though you did all these horrible, wicked things to me, or you tried to do all these horrible, wicked things to me, like, you tried to spear me with a javelin. Oh my goodness, he tried to get, like, real petty and give him his daughter to snare him. You tried to trap this brother.
Right. You know,
like,
that his daughter was wicked.
Man, like that's just a few examples of some things that he did, man. He told his own son and his servants to conspire against David.
Right.
And had Jonathan not been the brother that he was, they might have succeeded. They probably wouldn't have, because obviously, you know, the Most High was with David, of course. But the thing is, Jonathan could have listened to his father and just, okay, Dad, hey, you know, hey, we cool, you know, but my dad said I gotta kill you, you know, like, you know, like, but some people do that though.
Right.
Like some people will throw you under the bus for less,
Right.
honestly. So the fact that even through all that, David still showed like I could have killed you, but I'm not.
Right.
Because you want to know why? Because I got respect for you. It said at one point he did look up to Saul.
Right.
It said at one point he loved Saul.
Yeah. I mean, I think no, like even to Saul's dying day, he still loved him. He mourned for him. You know what I mean? When
Yeah.
Saul died, like, you know what I mean? So he still had major love for Saul. Like he looked up to him. That was his, you know what I mean? That was his Ottawa right there. It just he had to deal with, because David was going through it during the time period where Saul wanted to kill him. He was in the wilderness. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like he's living in the wilderness trying to get away. You know what I mean? So much so that he even had to, you know what I mean, confide to people that was against him at a time period. You know what I mean? So like David was going through it. David was going through some mess trying to stay alive from Saul's anger. You know what I mean?
Oh, sister got a question. That's a good question.
Yeah, I seen it.
So she said, how? Okay, so sister said, how do you prove that you're a friend if a sister or brother do slip up and go back into the world? Okay, so I just want to make sure I'm reading. Well, of course, my phone died. Okay, so you pulled it up.
You got that?
I just want to. Could you read it one more time because I can't see it on my phone.
Okay, it says, how do you prove that you're a friend if a sister or brother do slip up and go back into the world?
Okay, so before I answer that, I just want to make sure, are you asking how do you prove that you are a friend? Or are you asking how do they prove that they're a friend? I just want to make sure I'm getting the context of your question, sis, before I answer it.
And if I may too,
Go ahead.
I mean, you prove it by staying diligent too. You know what I'm saying? Like when they go into the world, you know what I mean, they're gonna endure certain things, and you have to be the example of why you are supposed to stay diligent. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because when you step back into the world, you know what I mean, the Most High gonna deal with that situation. You know what I mean? And it's gonna be a situation where, you know what I mean, you already know, like it's gonna be certain things that happen to you where you don't want it to happen. But it's the Most High getting you, it's the Most High getting you out of that situation. Because he's showing you that you stepping back into the world was not for you at all. You should have just stayed diligent, because you know what I mean, when we endure the troubles that go on within this truth, you know what I'm saying, we think that, okay, it'll be a lot better. It'll be a lot easier if I was just back where I was at. You know what I'm saying? It'd be a lot easier if I was doing the same things I used to do. It'd be a lot easier. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm over here stressing this hard. I might as well just smoke a cigarette. I might as well, you know what I mean, go my finances is so bad. Like I might as well just go out here and go sell some dope. Like, you know what I mean? You think that stepping back into the world is going to help you out until, you know what I'm saying, until you have to deal with the judgment that comes with doing what you wanted to do. You know what I mean? And then the Most High, he's just showing you. I mean, it's not like he's not still with you. The Most High gonna be with you regardless, but he's just showing you why what you did.
Just anybody in general.
Yeah, he's just showing you what he's showing you, that what the actions you took as far as stepping back in the world were never going to save you. You think that it's going to save you, but it's not. You have to push all those worldly things to a side, and you have to step wholeheartedly within this truth. You can't just try to half it. You can't just try to be like, oh yeah, well I'm a serve the high holy days, but I'm still about to you know what I mean, I'm still about to sleep with white women. But I mean, I'm going to not steal anything, but still, like, you know what I mean, this brother wife still want me. You know what I'm saying? And we got a little thing that we've been having since we was, you know what I mean, before I got in the truth. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't be 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Like the Most High wants you all the way in.
Right.
And so you being okay, if you have to display complete structure, and you being in this truth is an example. You sitting over here, sometimes you might go through certain things that certain people in the world are not even going through. But you got to be that example of, okay, I stayed diligent and now look at me now. You know what I'm saying? Look at me now. Like look how successful I am, and look at how much I don't even give a damn about those things that I went through. You know what I'm saying? You had like that's the way that you want to be an example. You know what I'm saying? But Salaki.
Yeah, no, everything that the priest was bringing out was, I mean, absolutely correct. And if I could also just chime in on that. So the sister said, just, anybody in general. Okay, so we are, what she said? It's like I can't say.
Including herself.
Including herself.
I mean, you already showing that already.
Oh, yeah,
because
okay.
you are in class right now.
Okay, Salaki,
And you're learning.
Yeah, Salaki, if I could, like what the priest was saying, like, you show it. You lead by example. Like, okay, let's say, because this happens to all of us. Okay, you attending class, you shedding yourself for the world, you staying diligent, you're leading by example, right? And it might be somebody that you might have known in the world or whatever. Y'all were cool at one point, and they might have done something a little shiesty towards you. Okay, be wise about it. Like, don't try to force yourself onto them, if that makes sense. Like, you keep doing what you're supposed to do. You keep the law, statutes, and commandments, because Christ went through this too. Like, he had people turn against him. Like, I mean, dare we even talk about Judas? Like what Judas did to Christ? He sold him for money. Right. Okay? But the thing is, Christ still had love for his people, though, and he led that by example. That doesn't necessarily mean you got to talk to the person every single day. Or you got to continue to reach out. If they want to change their ways, they'll do it if they want to, if it's in their spirit. But you gotta pave the way for them. Wow. And they may never want to come into the truth. Right. That's just a hard fact that a lot of us got to live with. Like, it might be somebody you might have known. It could be a loved one. It could be your rib. It could be your husband. It could be your children, your mother, your father, a biological brother or sister, and they may never want to change their ways. That's cool. They might have done something shite. They might have stole from you. They might have stole your car, wrecked it. Done something. Okay, you just be wise. You keep leading by example. You keep showing how, I guess in your case, how a sister is actually supposed to be. Right. Because exactly. Good night. Yeah. There's hella sisters today who have absolutely no idea of what being a real woman that serves the Lord is supposed to be. Exactly. They're worried about materialistic things and the fame and the whoredom and all that stuff. Right. That's cool. You don't associate yourself with that. You show yourself being a friend by following the law, statutes, and commandments. Christ showed it by sticking it out through the end. You think? I mean, we talked about this not that long ago. Yeah. Christ didn't he was willing to die, but there was a moment where Christ looked up to the Most High and was asking, "Look, if there's any other way." I'm gonna do it. Like, if I gotta do it, I'm gonna do it. But if there's any other way that I can save my people, let me know. This is Christ. And the Most High didn't say nothing. Man. And Christ already knew right there, like, okay, there is no other way. That's hard. And it wasn't just heathens that were coming against Christ. It was our own people that were coming against Christ. Like, when we go to camp and, we hold classes and stuff, there were people throwing things at Christ, slurring at him, probably spitting on him. Who knows? Like, and to the point. That definitely happened. Yeah, all that stuff. And, it was his own people. And he still had to sit there and show his love and show what a real brother, a real friend is supposed to be. Yeah. So, same thing with, Moses. Moses had an opportunity to have a blessing through his own lineage. At one point, the Most High was so through with us. He was like, you know what? I'm about to off all them, and I'm going to make a great nation out of your lineage. And Moses somehow, thank this brother, man, somehow convinced the Most High, please don't do it. Don't bring your people out of Egypt just to slay them. Save them. Give them another chance. I know it said that we're a stiff-necked people. We're hard-headed. I think we can all relate to that. But Moses showed what a true friend was. He denied himself. He could have easily said, okay, yeah, make one out of me. But nope, Didn't do that. He did mess up at one point, when he was told to speak to the rock.
Right.
He did mess up at one point. Aaron did mess up at one point when he made that golden calf. Those are some bad examples also, but there are also good examples of what Aaron, his brother, and what Moses has done, what King David has done, what Jonathan has done, what the Most High has done for us.
Right.
It said earlier, love each other as I've loved you.
Right.
Because Most High loves us. We get chastised from time to time, but that's love.
Right.
It's like how you chastise your children. You got to correct them. Because if you let your kid do whatever they want, you don't really love your kid. Because if I don't have kids, but if I had a kid and my son come up smoking weed in the house, you think I'm gonna sit there and be like, yeah, it's all good? No, get the hell up out of my house with that.
Right.
Why? Like, well, first of all, where'd you get that from? You know what I mean? So you show by leading example. Yeah. That's all. I hope that answers your question, sis.
So that all follows on Brotherhood too. So
right. Slaggy, what's time?
We on 12. It's 12 now.
Oh, okay.
You want to get the final closing?
Khan.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, you got anything before we close the class?
Yeah, Salakia. Just got 2 precepts real quick. You know what I'm saying? The priest is getting in on some heavy topics, like as far as what it is, as far as brotherhood and everything like that. Like the first precept I want to get into is Galatians 5 and 13. Okay, so I'll go to it. So Galatians 5 and 13, it says, "For brethren, ye have been called unto liberty. Only use not liberty for an occasion to the flesh, but by love serve one another." You know what I'm saying? So it's our duty. It's our duty to display brotherhood upon each other. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's probably the most important thing that we do at this time period because we're so separated. We've been so destroyed by, our oppressor. Like our oppressor has literally beat us down to a crumb. You know what I mean? And we don't really, like I know me before I even stepped into this truth, like, I've had animosity towards people that I didn't even know was my people. You know what I'm saying? I had thoughts of, I've been into the brainwashing of, oh yeah, it's easy to kill a nigga. You know what I'm saying? It's easy to kill your own people. You know what I'm saying? It's easy to want to hurt your own people. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I've been in that mindset. Like, oh yeah, well, you look at this nation a certain type of way, and then you look at your own nation like, okay, well, because of how we've been treated, it's fair game with them. You know what I mean? I could treat this person however I want to. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been in that mindset. You know what I mean? I've at a time period I hated my own brothers and sisters. You know what I'm saying? Like at a time period. So now that we know, you know what I mean, that brotherhood and sisterhood is probably one of the most strongest weapons we got at this time period. Mm-hmm. Because we've been so separated, and we've been like you can look at it today. Like every time now, it's a difference now because we're starting to see that we actually have power. Like when you look at the whole Dave Chappelle situation, the LGBTQ, they usually bully everybody. You know what I'm saying? They bully whoever they run through, whoever they want to run through. Now it's just like they already know. Like once you step against the black culture, it's gonna be an issue because that's where your power dwelled. Because we gave you that power. We let you have that power. You know what I'm saying? We gave you a situation where you felt like you was in power to bully and whoever you wanted because you used the black race as a tool to bully whoever spoke against you. You know what I'm saying? Now it's just like you going against your own you're going against your own power. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because really, you have no power. LGBTQ has no power at all. You know what I mean? They just been absorbing the struggles of Black people and trying to use that as some type of, you know what I mean, leeway of, oh yeah, well we go through the same struggle as these people. You know what I mean? So they've been using that this whole time, and now that they're trying to step against it, now it's being shown. Like, you know what I mean, you ain't got no power. Like it's revealed that people have been leeching off of us. People have been leeching off of what we've been through. You know what I'm saying? So us sticking together, just think of Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, the most dominant force on this earth. You know what I'm saying? Getting together, knowing that we are one and sticking together and, you know what I mean, thriving together. Like, you know what I mean? Like, as far as a culture, you know what I'm saying? Like, just think about that. You gotta think about that. You gotta think about how strong that nation would be. You gotta think about how entertaining that nation would be and how focused other nations would be on that, because every other nation wants to be like us.
Mhm.
I mean, every nation wants to be like us. And the only way that they've been able to thrive and be able to conquer is because of us. They've been taking our services and our captivity and been able to be a great nation. But you know what I mean, as far as us, just think if we took that power back. If we took that power back and we held it for ourselves, ain't gonna be no Justin Bieber's and on no, you know what I mean? None of those people that sit over there and try to take what we do
Right.
and try to make a living off of it.
What they call it, a culture vulture.
Culture vulture.
Yeah.
The water. I was like, it's back in my head right here. But you know what I mean? Like, just think about if we had our own nation and we thrived in our own, and we thrived in our own greatness. You know what I'm saying? Because we're great. Even in captivity, we're still great. Even in slavery, we're still great. You know what I mean? You still got those certain pioneers during the time of slavery that were Black. You know what I'm saying? During the time of slavery, where we were being buck braked, we were being raped, we were being, you know what I mean, killed, we were being tortured, we were being captive. Even in those time periods, we still had pioneers who showed some sense of, you know what I mean, I'm better than you. I'm still, you know what I mean, I still can cope with whatever society you got. Like, just think if we had our own society and we weren't in captivity and we weren't being held down and pressured into not being able to be the best of us every day. You know what I mean? Because when we teach our kids every day, we're teaching our kids to be something as great as what we see. But just think if the sky was a limit, be the best of what you are, who you are. You know what I mean? Our kid, like like that's why it's like the kingdom is going to be wonderful. You know what I mean? The kingdom is going to be wonderful because we have so much talent and we have so much what's the word I'm looking for? We have so much potential within ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's in our blood. You know what I mean? Like, just think if we were able to rule, being as great as we are today in captivity, we still are the best at everything in captivity. Now just think if the sky was the limit and we weren't in captivity and people weren't trying to hold our necks to the ground and say, no, you can be great, but you can't be greater than me. You know what I mean? Like, just think of that nation. That nation is going to be wonderful. And that's why brotherhood is such a great weapon, because we can do that now. You know what I mean? We have our brothers and sisters going out to the border, feeding our brothers and sisters now.
Right.
They're not waiting for, you know what I mean, Christ to come back. You know what I mean? Even though Christ is coming, but we're doing it now. We're displaying that brotherhood now. You know what I'm saying? So just think of how great we're going to be once that yoke around our neck is loosened and it's done away with. You know what I'm saying? Just think about how great we're going to be. Like, the kingdom is about to be wonderful. It's going to be wonderful because there's going to be no limitations about how great we are, because we are great people, even in captivity. what I'm saying? But we have to display how great we are by showing our brotherhood. And our brotherhood is going to get us into a position of freedom. You know what I mean? Love your brothers and sisters. Don't sit over here and look at your brother and sister like, you know what I mean? Oh, you easy to kill, so I'm gonna kill you. You from the wrong hood, so I'm gonna kill you. But you know what I mean? You can have somebody from a different nation banging the wrong hood also, but you won't think none towards it because you think that, you know what I mean, we're just all fair game. We're all easy kill because the white man, I'm slacking, but our oppressors kill us enough, you know what I mean, to the point where it's just like, it's easy. It's an easy task. Now, we need to look at each other like, you know what I mean, not like how Saul looked at David. We need to look at each other like John and David looked at each other.
Right.
I mean, we are brothers and sisters. Like, we are literally the only things that we got to strive and get through this through this nation. You know what I mean? Because as much as we want to ignore it, we're in captivity right now. Look at, I mean, a gift destroyed the heart. We got these sisters out here whoring themselves, you know what I mean? But they get a nice vacation, they get a nice apartment, they get whoopie whoop whoop, but they're whores. They're whores. They have to sleep with men for these type of things. And not just that, they have to sleep with heathens for these type of gifts that they get. And now it's a new trend. It's a thing now. Now it's implanted in all of our sisters' minds to be wicked and to be whores, because that's the new thing. If I'm a whore and I'm wicked, then I'm going to get nice hotels. I'm gonna get nice bags. I'm gonna get a nice car. Like that's the thing now. We have to wake our brothers and sisters up. Like we're being destroyed consistently every day, and it's been happening for generation upon generation upon generation. You know what I mean? Now it's just like we looking like Sodom and Gomorrah now. You know what I'm saying? Like a brother can't even have a decent relationship with a woman because she was already destroyed from birth. You know what I'm saying? She was already taught from birth that, you know what I mean, your box is everything to this man, and everything that you do, he's going to strive to make sure that he gets that. You know what I mean? That man is destroyed because he feels like everything that he needs to strive for is for a woman's box. So we're programmed and we're pushed into this situation of being destroyed, and we have to break it. We have to break it by a woman loving a man regardless of whatever his circumstances is. You know what I'm saying? Regardless if he's broke, regardless if he's put down by our oppressors, regardless of whatever his circumstances is, you know what I mean? She sees the man in him and she sees the potential in him, and she's gonna love him regardless. You know what I'm saying? She's gonna love him regardless. She don't need $1 to be able to be satisfied. She don't need attention in order to be satisfied. He doesn't need a woman to, you know what I mean, satisfy, to pleasure him in order to be satisfied. He's not looking at her physically, he's looking at her he's looking at her personality, he's looking at her morals. You know what I mean? All these things, they matter because they all coincide with brotherhood and sisterhood. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna look at my wife like she's my sister, not in a relative type of way, but you are a part of my nation. You are a part of me, and I'm gonna treat you as such. You know what I'm saying? She's gonna look at you like, you know what I mean, you a black man thriving in this world. You know what I mean? You my brother, not in a sense of relationship, but in a sense of, you know what I mean, we one nation. Mm-hmm. And that's what we got to understand. We are one nation, and we are literally in captivity, thriving together. And if we break out of this mindset that our oppressors have given us, as far as being destroyed and loving one another like Christ wanted us to love, you know what I'm saying? Like, just think about how far we're going to go. But, you know what I mean? Salaki on that one.
No, the priest is bringing out was heavy. Anybody got any questions before? Well, actually, we should close.
Yeah, kind of. I think we done.
All right.
Yeah, there ain't no questions. Yes.
We good. Okay. All right, I just want to say, I'm Swab. I just want to say the water for everybody that tuned in. Also want to say the water for sticking through. I know we had some issues earlier, so the water to the ones that stuck through. If you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe. And with that, Amijam, just me and the brother up here.
La Yasharala.
Men of Israel, gird up thy loins to prepare to salute the Torah.
Yahweh Bashem Yahshua Barak Yah.
Yahweh Hashem Yahshua Barak Yah.
Yahweh Hashem Yahshua Barak Yah.
Let's walk back. Oh, sorry.
Yahweh Hashem Yahshua Barak Yah. All right, Amajim upon Yahakodam, which means to rise and face the east. Begin with the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Abanawa.
Abanawa.
Shabbat Shemayah.
Shabbat Shemayah.
Kodash.
Kodash.
Hayah.
Hayah.
Shemka.
Shemka.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Malak with Ka.
Malak with Ka.
Taba'ah.
Taba'ah.
Batazaka.
Batazaka.
Hayah.
Hayah.
Aisha.
Aisha.
Ba'arataza.
Ba'arataza.
Kawa.
Kawa.
Hayah.
Hayah.
Bashamayim.
Bashamayim.
Natan Lanawa.
Latanyanawa.
Lakam.
Lakam.
Call.
Call.
Yawam.
Yawam.
Wasalaknawa.
Wasalaknawa.
Kabawatnawa.
Kabawatinawa.
Kasalaknawa.
Kasalaknawa.
Kabawathiyanawa.
Kabawatinawa.
Wala'ah.
Wala.
Tabayanawa.
Tabayanawa.
Banasaiwan.
But a sign one.
Abal.
Abal.
Hawashinawa.
Hawashinawa.
Mayan.
Mayan.
Rai.
Rai.
Kaya.
Kaya.
Laka.
Laka.
Amalakwa.
Amalakwath.
Waha'ala.
Wala'ala.
Watapara.
Wataparath.
Lawalamim.
Alayim.
Aman.
Aman. The Lord's Prayer in the English. Our Father,
Our Father,
which art in heaven,
which art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name.
hallowed be thy name.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy will be done
Thy will be done
in earth
in earth
as it is in heaven.
as it is in heaven.
Give us this day
Give us this day
our daily bread,
our daily
and
bread.
forgive us our debts
Forgive us our debts
as we forgive our
as
debtors.
we forgive our debtors.
And lead us not
And lead us not
into temptation,
into temptation,
but deliver us
deliver us
from evil.
from evil.
For thine is the
For
kingdom
thine is the kingdom
and the power
and the power
and the glory
and the glory
forever.
forever.
So be it.
Hakak, which is the power in the Hebrew. Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Ba'ashem.
Ba'asham.
Yahushai.
Yahushai.
Babakashah.
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 Latanyanawa.
Hakak.
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 Larapa'ah.
Laparah.
Call.
Call.
Makala.
Makala.
Wakal.
Wakal.
Madawa.
Madawa.
Hakak.
Hakak.
Latahar.
Latahar.
Ha.
Ha.
Matazarayim.
Matazarayim.
Hakak.
Hakak.
Lahakwayim.
La'aquayim.
Hamathiim.
Hamathiim.
Hakak.
Hakak.
Io.
Io.
Lakawath.
Lakawath.
Latama'ala.
Latama'ala.
Garshun.
Garsham.
Ba'asham.
Ba'asham.
Yahushai.
Yahushai.
The water.
The water.
Aman.
Aman. Hakak, the power in the English. Yahweh,
Yahweh,
in the name of Yahweh
in
Shai,
the name of Yahweh Shai,
please
please
give us the power
give us the power
to heal
to heal
all manner of sickness,
all manner of
and
sickness,
all manner of disease,
and all manner of disease,
the power to cleanse the
the
lepers,
power to cleanse the
the
lepers,
power to raise the dead,
the power to raise the dead,
the power against unclean
the
spirits,
power against unclean spirits,
to cast them out
to cast them out
in the name of Yahweh
in
Shai.
the name of Yahweh Shai.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So be it.
So be it. This is the blessings in Hebrew. Barakatah Yahweh.
Barakatah Yahweh,
Wa Yahweh Shai.
Wa Yahweh Shai,
Wa Mayaka Allah.
Wa Ma'ala,
Wa Alahayim.
Wa Alahayim,
Matazab Ya'ah.
Matazab Ya'ab,
Alawap Yahana.
Alawap Yahana,
Ha Alawapim.
Ha Alawapim,
Ha Saranya.
Hasaramyam,
Haka Salakia. Hakwatazayoyim.
Hakwataz Ayonim,
Haka Yayoyim.
Hachayonim,
Waha Akwafim.
Wa Agwathium,
Yahweh.
Yahweh,
Ba'ashem.
Ba'asham,
Yahweh Shai.
Yahweh Shai,
Water.
the water.
Amen.
Amen. The blessings in the English. Bless you, Yahweh,
Bless you, Yahweh.
and Yahweh Shai,
And Yahweh Shai.
and Michael,
And Michael.
and the angels,
And the angels.
Commanding General Yahana,
Commanding General Yahana.
the generals,
The generals.
the captains,
Captains.
the officers, the troopers,
The troopers.
and the sisters.
And the sisters.
Yahweh,
Yahweh.
in the name of Yahweh
In
Shai.
the name of Yahweh Shai.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So be it.
So be it. Psalms 121 in the Hebrew. Asha'ah.
Asha,
Ayunya.
Ayunya.
All.
All.
Ahayim.
Ahayim.
Mayan.
Mayan,
Yaba'ah.
Yaba'ah,
Isaiah.
Isaiah,
Isaiah.
Isaiah,
Ma'aim.
Ma'aim,
Yahweh.
Yahweh,
Aisha.
Aisha,
Shemayim.
Shemayim,
Wa'arataza.
Wa'arataza,
All Yathan.
Ayathan,
Lamawat.
Lamawat,
Ragalka.
Wagalka,
All.
All,
Yanawam.
Yawam,
Shamarka.
Shamarka,
Hana.
Hana,
La'ah.
La'ah,
Yanawam.
Yawam,
Wala'ah.
Wala'ah,
Yayashun.
Yayasham,
Shawamar.
Shamar,
Yasharala.
Yasharala,
Yahweh.
Yahweh,
Shamarka.
Shamarka,
Yahweh.
Yahweh,
Tazalka.
Tazalka,
Ayad.
Ayad,
Yamyamka.
Yamyamka,
Yawamam.
Yawam,
Hashamash.
Yashamash,
La'ah.
La'ah,
Yakaka.
Yakakat,
Wayarak.
Rarat,
Walayallah.
Wala'lah,
Yahweh.
Yahweh,
Yashamarka.
Yashamarka,
Makal.
Makal,
Rai.
Rai,
Yashamar.
Yashamar,
Athnapashka.
Athnapashka,
Yahweh.
Yahweh,
Yashamar.
Yashamar,
Taza'afka.
Taza'afka,
Wabawa'afka.
Wabawa'afka,
Ma'ita.
Ma'ita,
Wa'ai.
Wa'ai,
Ayawalam.
Awalam. Psalms 121 in the English. I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills.
I will lift up my eyes into the hills.
From whence cometh my help?
Whence cometh my help?
My help cometh from the Lord,
My help cometh from the Lord,
which made heaven and earth.
which made heaven and earth.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He that keepeth thee
He that keepeth thee
will not slumber.
will not slumber.
Behold,
Behold,
he that keepeth Israel
he that keepeth Israel
shall neither slumber nor sleep.
shall neither slumber nor sleep.
The Lord is thy keeper.
The Lord is thy keeper.
The Lord is thy shade
The Lord is thy shade
upon thy right hand.
upon thy right hand.
The sun shall not smite thee by day,
The sun shall not smite thee by day,
nor the moon by night.
nor the moon by night.
The Lord shall preserve thee
The Lord shall preserve thee
from all evil.
from all evil.
He shall preserve thy soul.
He shall preserve thy
The
soul.
Lord shall preserve thy going out
The Lord shall preserve thy going out
and thy coming in
and thy coming in.
from this time forth
From this time forth
and even forevermore.
and even forevermore. Psalms 83 in Hebrew. Alahayim.
Alahayim.
All. Damaya.
Amaya,
Laka.
Laka,
All.
All,
Takarash.
Zakarash,
Wa'al.
Wa'al,
Tashakwat.
Dashakwat,
All.
All,
Kaya.
Kaya,
Hana.
Hana,
Awayibika.
Ayibika,
Yahama.
Yahama,
Yawan.
Yawam,
Ra'ash.
Ra'ash,
Al.
Al,
Imaka.
Amaka,
Ya'ayamwa.
Ya'ayamwa,
Sawada.
Sawada,
Waita.
Waita,
Yaitazawa.
Yatazawa,
Al.
Al,
Tazapawanyaka.
Tezapawanyaka,
Amorwa.
Amarwa,
Lakawa.
Akawa,
Wanakakidam.
Wadakakidam,
Magoya.
Magoya,
Wala'a.
Wala'a,
Yazakar.
Yazakar,
Shum.
Shum,
Yasharala.
Yasharala,
Awada.
Awada,
Kaya.
Kaya,
Naitazawa.
Ntazawa,
Laba.
Laba,
Yakadwa.
Yakadwa,
Al Yaka.
Aliyaka,
Barya.
Bayath,
Yakarathwa.
Yakarathwa,
Aliyah.
Aliyah,
Adawam.
Adawam,
Wa.
Wa,
Yashamai.
Yashamai,
Aliyam.
Aliyam,
Ma'aba.
Mawa'aba,
Wahagorium.
Wa'agarium,
Gabal.
Gabal,
Wayamawan.
Wayawam,
Wayamalak.
Wamalak,
Halashah.
Halashath,
Am Yashabia.
Am Yashabia,
Tazawar.
Tazawar,
Gum.
Gum,
Ashawar.
Ashawar,
Nalawa.
Nalawa,
Aimam.
Ayamam,
Hayawa.
Hawa,
Zorawai.
Zarawai,
Labunya.
Labunya,
Lawat.
Lawat,
Salah.
Salah,
Aisha.
Aisha,
Laham.
Lahum,
Kamadia.
Kamadim,
Kasaya.
Kasaya,
Sara'ah.
Sara'ah,
Kayabya.
Kayabim,
Manakal.
Banakal,
Kwayashwan.
Kiyashwam,
Nishabanwa.
Yashabawa,
Bayan.
Bayam,
Dara.
Dawa,
Hayawa.
Hayawa,
Daman.
Dama,
La'ah.
La'ah,
Dama.
Dama,
Shayatamwa.
Shayatamwa,
Nada.
Nada,
Yamawa.
Yamawa,
Kairab.
Kairab,
Kaza-Abba.
Wakaza-Abba,
Kaza-Ba.
Wakaza-Ba,
Wakazazol.
Wakatazal,
Manai.
Manai,
Call.
Call,
Nasayakamo.
Nasayakama,
Shar,
Ashar,
Amarwa,
Amarwa,
Yarasha,
Narashah,
Lanawa,
Malawat,
Ah,
Af,
Nawa,
Narwath,
Alahaya,
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 Shayatamwa,
Shayatamwa,
Kagogala,
Kagogala,
Kakwash,
Kakwash,
Lapunya,
Lapunya,
Rabaka,
Rabakah,
Ka'ash,
Ka'ash,
Tabaira,
Tabaira,
Ya'ira,
Ya'ira,
Wa,
Wa,
Kalahaba,
Kalabah,
Dalahat,
Dalahat,
Haryam,
Hayam,
Kun,
Kun,
Daradama,
Tawadatma,
Wasa Iraka,
Wasa Iraka,
Wabasai,
Wabasai,
Wapavka,
Wapavka,
Tabahalam,
Tabalan,
Mala'a,
Malah,
Panyahum,
Palaham,
Kuala One,
Palaham,
Waya,
Waya,
Bakwashwa,
Bakwashwa,
Shamka,
Shamka,
Yahawa,
Yahawa,
Yabashwa,
Yabashwa,
Waya,
Waya,
Bahawa,
Bahawa,
Aya,
Aya,
Waya,
Waya,
Kaparwa,
Kaparwa,
Waya,
Waya,
Abadwa,
Abadwa,
Waya,
Waya,
Daiwa,
Daiwa,
Kaya,
Kaya,
Ata,
Ata,
Shamka,
Shamka,
Yahawa,
Yahawa,
Abadka,
Labadka,
Iwan,
Iwam,
Al, Call,
Call,
Haratza.
Aratazah. Psalms 83 in the English. Keep not thy silence, O God.
Keep not thy silence, O God.
Hold not thy peace.
Hold not thy peace.
And be not still.
And be not still.
O God.
O God.
For lo,
For lo,
thine enemies make a tumult,
thine enemies make a tumult.
and they that hate thee
They that hate
have lifted up the head.
have lifted up the
They
head.
have taken crafty counsel
They have taken crafty counsel
against thy people,
against thy people
and consulted
and consulted
against thy hidden ones.
against thy hidden
They
ones.
have said,
They have said,
Come,
Come
and let us cut them off
and let us cut them off
from being a nation,
from being a nation,
that the name of Israel
that the name of Israel
may be no more
may
remembrance.
be no more remembrance.
For they have consulted together
For they have consulted together
with one consent.
with one consent.
They are confederate against thee.
They are confederate against
The
thee.
tabernacles of Edom,
The tabernacles of Edom
and the Ishmaelites,
and the Ishmaelites
of Moab,
of Moab
and the Hagarenes,
the Hagarenes,
Gabal,
Gabal,
and Ammon,
and Ammon,
and Amalek,
and Amalek,
the Philistines,
the Philistines,
with the inhabitants of Tyre.
with the inhabitants of Tyre.
Assur also is joined with them.
So also is joined with
They
them.
have hope in the children of Lot.
They have hope in the children of Lot.
Salah,
Salah.
do unto them
Do unto them
as unto the Midianites,
as unto the
as
Midianites,
to Sisera,
as to Sisera,
as to Jabin,
as to Jabin,
at the brook of
at
Kasan,
the brook of Kison,
which perished at Endor.
which perished at Endor.
They became as dung for the earth.
They became as dung for the earth.
Make their nobles like Oreb,
Make their nobles like Oreb,
and like Zaid.
and like Zaid.
Yea,
Yea,
all their princes as Zabah,
all their princes as Zabah,
and as Almunah,
and as Almunah,
who said,
who said,
Let us take to
Let
ourselves
us take to ourselves
the houses of God in possession.
the houses of God in possession.
Oh my God,
Oh my God,
make them like a wheel,
make them like a wheel,
as a stubble before the wind,
as a stubble before the wind,
as the fire burneth a wood,
as the fire burneth the wood,
and as the flame set the mountains on fire.
and as the flame set the mountains on fire.
So persecute them
So persecute them
with thy tempest,
with thy tempest,
and make them afraid
make them afraid
with thy storm.
with thy storm.
Fill their faces with shame,
Fill their faces with shame,
that they may seek thy
that
name.
they may seek thy name.
O Lord,
O Lord,
let them be confounded
let them be confounded
and troubled
and troubled
forever.
forever.
Yea,
Yea,
let them be put to shame
let them be put to shame
and perish,
and perish,
that men may know
that men may know
that thou,
that thou,
whose name alone
whose name alone
is Yahweh,
is Yahweh,
art the most high
art the most high
over all the earth.
over all the earth.
Shalom, Israel.
All right, Shalom, Israel.